Okay. I wanna read the Torah. I wanna read from this week's Torah reading, and I kind of want to start in. I want to start a few verses in. This week's Torah reading actually begins in Genesis 47, verse 28, but I just want to look at some verses in chapter 48. I have a noisy house. A lot of people live here, so I'm using music to block out some of the noise. So before I start, I'll pray. Yeshua, please teach me how to understand the Torah. I don't understand the Torah. I don't understand how to read it. I want to see you unveiled in it. I want to truly understand it. I want to know the God who gave it. I want to be equipped by it. Scripture is breathed by you, God, and it's useful. It's useful for equipping for good works. I want to be corrected and rebuked and equipped for good works. So, okay, I'm going to try to do verse by verse. You can kind of watch me try to work through the Hebrew. I don't really know Torah well, but I love Torah, and I've been pressed by the Holy Spirit to devote my life to studying Torah. So you can watch me try to work through it. In Genesis 48, starting in verse 1, Vayehi acharei hadabarim ha'ele, and it was after these things, which were the events that transpired before. Vayomer leYosef hinei, and it was told to Joseph, behold, Avicha chole, your father is sick. That's the lemma chala. It's used a lot in Isaiah 53. It's just sickness or illness. You're not well. Vayikach et shnei v'nav imo et Manasseh et Ephraim. And Joseph, he took his two sons with him, Manasseh and Ephraim. And that's 48 verse 1. Verse 2. Vayeged leYaakov layomer hine bincha Yosef ba elecha. And it was told to Jacob and said, behold, your son Joseph has come, elecha to you. Vayit chazek Yisrael, and either he strengthened himself or he was strengthened. He was made strong, and he regained his strength. Israel, vayeshev al hamita, and he sat up on his bed. So there's kind of like this picture of ancient Yaakov, ancient Jacob, tired, weary, sick, on his couch and on his bed. And when he hears word of his son coming to him, when he hears word of his beloved son Joseph coming to him, he is strengthened and he regains his strength and he can sit up. And he does. And that presses me. That makes me. That's a powerful picture, and it makes me think of when Israel wanes and weakens. If Israel will receive his beloved son that comes to him, he will regain strength, and he'll be at the point of death, even sickness, but he will regain strength and sit up. So, verse 3, Vayomer Yaakov el Yosef, El Shaddai nira Elai, Baluz. And Jacob said to Joseph, El Shaddai, the name for God, the name that they called God by. They didn't call God Yehovah or Yahweh. That name wasn't revealed to them. It was revealed to Moses. So if you see it in the Torah, Moses, who is accredited with authoring the Torah, kind of inserts that post-Exodus Israel is the group of people that the Torah was written for, and they knew El Shaddai, they knew God as Yahweh. But here Jacob says to Joseph, El Shaddai appeared to me in Luz. Luz is a place that later gets renamed to Beit El, or Bethel, or House of God. And so God appeared to me in Luz, is what Jacob says there. And then it says, Ba'eretz Canaan, in the land of Canaan. And Beit El, the house of God, is located within the land of Canaan. This is like in Genesis 28. This is when Jacob finally gets to meet the God of his father Isaac and the God of his father Abraham in person. We don't know of any time that Jacob would have met God. Hey guys, we don't know of any time that Jacob would have met God prior to these events in Genesis 28. So it's kind of that's a weird thought, that Jacob was, serving his father Isaac, his mother Rebecca, and he knows about granddad Abraham, and there's this relationship to this God, and that God's already appeared to Isaac. He would know these things, and that God's prophesied and spoken to him about Esau and himself, but he doesn't know God personally. He's not seen him, and Jacob's like retelling this after he regains his strength on his sick bed. He's speaking to his beloved son Joseph, and he's reiterating to him this event. It was a life-changing event when he finally met the God of his fathers. I would say it's kind of a secret reading, a sod reading, an insight that this is still happening for a lot of people. In my time and in my age, people who hear about this God that their fathers and their forefathers served, but they've never met him, and then when he finally appears to them, like, it changes their life. It's very profound, very simple, but it's also very simple. You don't really know God until God actually visits you in real time, and you shouldn't think that you know God if he hasn't visited you. When Jacob wants to start the story, this is another subreading, when Jacob wants to start the story of his relationship with this God, as he's retelling the story to his son, Joseph, he doesn't start it at the point where as a little lad he probably would have learned from Isaac stories about his grandfather and about his father. He starts the story where he met him face to face. So, as a challenge to people who I wasn't raised in a situation where I was a part of some kind of group or assembly or church. I wasn't raised in the church. I wasn't raised in synagogue. So I don't know what it's like for people who have that situation. But if you were raised in the church, and that's where you start your story, and that's where your story ends. I was raised in the church. I would say, I would challenge you to say, do you really know God? If God's visited you, praise God, that's awesome. Like I've got little kids, and I'm definitely raising them in the context of an assembly. I'm raising them in a context that's alien to me, that's foreign to me. But your story should start with God visiting you. So we're in, Vayivarechoti, and so Jacob says, and God blessed me when he appeared to me in the land of Luz and Bethel. Vayomer Elai, and he said to me, Hinani, which I think means behold me. Hinani, mafracha, you be fruitful. Okay, you being fruitful. Vehirbiticha, you multiplying. Nataticha, and I will give to you likahal amim. I will give to you an assembly of nations. But natati et haaretz, and I will give the land hazot, this land, which is Canaan. That's what he's discussing. He's telling about a past memory. I will give this land of Canaan, lazaracha, to your seed, to the seed of you. Lazaracha. acharecha, to the seed of you after you, achazat olam, is an everlasting possession. Achazat olam, an everlasting possession. And yeah, the land of Canaan that was promised to Abraham and then reiterated to Isaac and then reiterated to Israel was an everlasting possession. Now the story is being reiterated to Joseph. Verse 5. Ve'ata shnei vanecha hanoladim. And now the two sons of you, the lads, the ones that you bore, the lads of you, lecha, the lads for you, but Eretz Mitzrayim, these two sons that you've had, he's talking, so Israel is talking to his son Joseph, and he's going to do something strange here. He's going to say, the two sons, the two lads that you've had in the land of Israel, ad boi elecha, until I came to you, Mitzrayim, until I came to you downward to Egypt. So until I came to you downward to Egypt, li, to me they are, li him Ephraim u Manasseh, ki Reuven the Shimon Yehili. So he says this strange statement. So for those who are joining, we're in Genesis 48, verse 5. I'm just trying to read through the Torah and share what I think is edifying. Maybe what Yeshua gives me, we'll see. And we're in verse 5, and so Israel, Jacob, has told Joseph, kind of reiterated this event when Yahweh appeared to him and spoke this promise over him and made him essentially conferred the covenant on his head. So Isaac confers the covenant on his head in that trickery and that deceit with Esau, but Yahweh confers the covenant when he appears to him in Genesis 28 when he's on the way down to the land of he's on the way down to the land of his relatives. And a weird thing happens here. Israel says to Joseph, these two sons that you've had in the land of Egypt, they're going to be reckoned to me. So he names them. Ephraim and Manasseh are going to be reckoned to me just like or as Reuben and Simeon. Okay, Reuben and Shimon, Yehuli. He's saying they'll be reckoned as my sons, as sons to me. Now, there's no word for grandfather in Hebrew, which is kind of cool. So when I think it's Yekabed, when the fifth house rule, fifth command says honor your father and your mother, it would be a larger net would be cast, not just the dude who gave you life, but also your grandfather and your great grandfather. You would honor them, you make them heavy. But so it's kind of an interesting passage because there's not a word. They don't have a word being used here for grandfather or grandson, but they're being explicit. They'll be reckoned to me as sons in terms of property and possession, and they're no longer Joseph's. So here's this beloved son of Israel, and he comes to his father, and in the middle of his sickness, his strength is revived, and he speaks this blessing. And he takes these sons that came from a Gentile woman, these sons of Joseph, and he says, I'll add them to the people of Israel. They're my sons. They have a share in what I just read before, the Achazat Olam, that everlasting possession. These two foreigners will not have a share. And I was really pressed about this. That I think it's Asenat, was her name, the priestess, the daughter of On. And thanks, Greg. All right. I felt like there's the gospel in this. I can see the gospel in this. And the way I can see the gospel in this is there's this son who's gone through hell. He's like gone through suffering. He's been thrown in the pit. He's been abandoned by his people. Like he he longs to go back to his father and to his land, and he's isolated, and he's in a prison, and he's wrongly treated. I mean, he's just oppressed, crushed. And then he's raised up, and in the process of him being pressed and crushed and raised up, he's now brought these two sons of a foreign land, sons of a foreign woman, sons of a foreign woman whose father is devoted to a false god. And now these sons are they're not demoted, they're elevated. And they're brought into the assembly of Israel. They're equal inheritors in Israel. This is the gospel. So too, the beloved son Yeshua was mistreated, was beaten, was handed over to nations. And he too is adding to his bride, the Gentiles. It's like a sod reading that Asanat is like, I'm joining myself and I'm producing children, the seed of the Messiah, the seed of Yeshua being called Everlasting Father in Isaiah 9. And he has children to bring into the covenant that never even saw the land. And praise God, he has children to bring into the covenant who never even saw the land of Canaan. And it'll be their land. Do you guys see the gospel in that? Do you see the goodness and the kindness of Yahweh? The patience of Yahweh? And using this suffering of this beloved son that was faithful to Yahweh. And in the process of raising him up, he wasn't raised up by himself and then they were told, get rid of your wife and get rid of these children. Instead, no. The children of this foreign wife, they become equal inheritors in the land. Even to the point that, like, there won't be a tribe of Joseph. There won't be a tribe of Joseph in regards to inheritance. We have Ephraim and Manasseh. And very similarly, to how Yahweh does to make his grace evident, to make his working evident, and to demonstrate that this people is his people and they are the work of his hands. He's going to, again, bless the younger with greater authority and prominence than the older. Joseph understands this. He's the favorite son. And he was way younger. Jacob understands this himself. He was the younger and received the blessing. So, verse 6, Umaladtacha asher holadta acharehem lacha yehiyu al shem achehem yikru benachaltam. And the sons, and I think it says, and the lads or the sons that you produce, or the children that you produce after these two will be to you. They'll be yours, Jacob's saying. The sons you have after these, they'll be to you, Joseph. Al Shem Achehem, and they'll be reckoned according to the name of the brothers of them, and they'll be called into the inheritance. I think that last part, Asher Halota Acharehem Al Shem. So I think the latter part of this is saying that it's just a reiteration of the fact that Ephraim and Manasseh, they'll be called according to the level of the brothers of Joseph in regards to the inheritance. We have this word, Benachalatam, in their inheritance, the brothers' inheritance. Ephraim and Manasseh are on equal footing. Va'ani, I think is what it says. Verse 7, Va'ani bavoi mi padan, and me, bavoi, and my coming from Padan, meta alai Rachel. She died on me, Rachel. In my coming from Padan, Rachel died on me. It's on me. That's very sad. You don't see that. Alai Rachel be'eretz Canaan baderech. So in the way, she died in the land of Canaan in the way. Ba'od kivrat eretz. In the stretch or distance of the land, in the extra stretch of the Lavo Ephratah. I guess, and they're coming and they're traveling and getting to Ephratah. Va'ekbareah Sham. Oh wow, me buried. Yeah, and I buried her. Yeah, that's so heavy. We don't think about that, like the ancients having to bury their dead, having to bury their wives or their husbands. They themselves doing it. We have it's a very mechanized process in the West. So he's like recalling this event to his son. That's his mom. He's talking to Joseph about his mom, how she died in Ephrata, and how I buried her there in the way. B'derech Ephrat, he Beit Lechem, in Bethlehem. I buried Rachel in Bethlehem, in Ephrat, in the way of Ephrat in Bethlehem. So Rachel is buried in Bethlehem. And I just want to say, as a sod reading, as painful as this would be for Joseph to hear and recall, he was the firstborn son of his mom who was barren, and I'm sure he loved her deeply. This happened while he was enslaved and while he was in a foreign land and stuck there. So he had no share in this. But there's some vestige of hope, because Rachel, is buried in Bethlehem, and the child who will call her out of her tomb, out of the grave, it will be born there as well. The one who calls us out of our graves will be born in that city. And so I'm now in I love this. Don't you love this? My beloved son. I'm in a Spotify battle with my beloved son. Isn't that great? Real life peeps. Bring me back. It's glory. I get brought down to charades of vanity. All right. Love my little man. And so yeah. And verse 8, Vayara Yisrael et b'nei Yosef Vayomer Miele. And so Israel, and they shift from Yaakov to Israel with the name here. I think it's important when they shift to Israel. Israel is like, it feels like they shift. This is again, this is like a sod reading, but the switching between names of God, for example, in Bereshit and Genesis is important. When they shift from Elohim to Yahweh, it actually has significance with the function that Yahweh is performing, or that God is performing there. And so I think similarly, when they say Yaakov, a lot of it is it's just him. It's that dude that we know that's flesh, that's weak. But when he functions prophetically, when he functions in his calling as the covenantal head, they'll call him Yisrael. And so he does this thing when he sees the boys. Who are these two? It doesn't mean he hasn't seen them. I think it's what prepares the way for prophecy. Who then are these two? Present them to me, Israel. It's almost like it's not ceremonial, but it kind of is ceremonial. And maybe Yosef anticipates this because of what he does. I don't know. But Yari Israel b'nei Yosef v'yomer Miele. Who are these? And Israel sees the two sons of Joseph and says, who are these? Verse 9, but Yomer Yosef El Aviv, and Joseph says to his father, Benayim, these are my sons, Asher Natan li Elohim Bazeh. They are my sons, which he gave to me, God, which God gave to me in this, I guess this place, this land, this season, this context, where they are, because they're in Egypt at this point. But Yomar Kachim Na Elai, And I think and Israel says, "Take them, please." Nah, it's like a please. It's a kind of exclamatory phrase. Nah, if you're willing, please. Take them, if you please, to me. So he's sitting up in his bed. Take them to me, va'avarachem, and I will bless them. Take them to me, and I will bless them. It's weird there because it's not above consecutive. It's almost like, and I have blessed them, but I will bless them. Verse 10. So he's about to bless the boys. Ve'enei Yisrael kavdu. I like this. Ve'enei Yisrael kavdu mizoken lo yuchal lirot. The eyes of Israel, they were heavy from oldness. That's what it says in Hebrew. The eyes of Israel were heavy from oldness. It means he doesn't see well at this point. So the eyes of Israel are heavy from oldness. Lo yuchal lirot. He's not able to see. Vayagash otam elav. Vayagash otam elav. Vayisak. Vayagash. You see here. Okay. There. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. It means to be met. 10. Okay, to bring near. That's what I thought. Okay. Double checking, guys. Just double checking on the Hebrew there. Vayigash, they brought him near. They caused him to meet. Okay, great. Brought him near. And we're in verse 10. So the Israel, and the eyes of Israel were heavy from old age, and he was not able to see. And Vayigash otam elav, they were brought to him. Vayisak, not Yitzchak, which is he laughed, or Isaac, but Vayisak lahem, and he kissed them. He kissed them. Vayisak lahem. Vayechavek lahem, and he embraced them. So you can imagine Israel taking these two sons from a foreign land. Who are they? Do they know what's coming? Do they know what their inheritance is? Do they really know Israel? Should they have a share in Israel? Should they be? And the head of the covenant kisses them and embraces them. They're mine. I see the gospel in this as well. You don't think about that, but I just want to cry. In Romans it says Abraham is our father. Abraham is the father of Gentiles and the father of Jews. The father of Gentiles and the father of Israel. The father of both of us. He became the father of the uncircumcised because of the faithfulness he had when uncircumcised. And he became the father of Israel after the circumcision with the covenant that he received because of the faith he had before he was circumcised. But you remember when King Messiah says, the last days will be like a feast, and we'll all sit down and we'll feast with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. And just to think about every language, tribe, and tongue under the sun being represented, and I can imagine Israel kissing them and embracing them as one people. God, it's a powerful picture. I'm sure that motivated Paul in the trenches of his ministry, this impossible ministry to bring together Jew and Gentile through the working of Messiah by proclaiming this gospel, that he took the two and made them one, and he removed the enmity that was between them and the curse. So he kisses them and he embraces them. And we're in verse 11. Vayomer Yisrael Zarecha. I'm sorry, I skipped ahead. Vayomer Yisrael El Yosef Ra'o Fanecha Lo Filalti. And Israel says to Joseph, seeing your face, Joseph, not Filalti. I would not have judged this. I would not assumed this. Not I could have judged this. There's no way this could have happened, me seeing your face. And partly because of the circumstances and thinking he's dead. He thought he was dead. V'hinei her'a and behold, having caused me to, and God has caused me to see again, even your seed. Like the power of God. I never would have judged that I would see my son again, is what he says. Not only have I seen my son, I've seen your seed. Like, how? This is so good. This is so wonderful. I'm so thankful. And God is good, man. God is good. You know, what we judge is impossible. What we say, this would never happen. I'd never be allowed to be granted this. Things have gone too wrong. There's no way that this can be fixed, this situation. Not only can it be fixed, it could be exceeded beyond our wildest dreams. I think that's the truth that's behind Paul saying he can do above and beyond. Father can do above and beyond. Daddy in heaven can do above and beyond what you ask or imagine. Yahweh does above and beyond what we can even imagine. Like the things we literally soberly, like in our sober thinking, are like, this just is not going to happen. This situation's too messed up. Here are all the reasons. I understand all the reasons. I understand the liabilities. I understand the likelihoods. Probabilistically, this is not going to happen. Even though it's a thing that's wonderful, and all my wishful thinking is this is not going to happen. And then God's like, not only is it going to happen, it's going to be 7 times as great as you could have even imagined through my doing. And Yosef and I think I'll stop there in verse 11. Maybe not, I don't know. Maybe I'll keep going. I know that some people have hung in there for quite a while, like 31 minutes. Man, you know, maybe I'll read through 16. Yeah, I'll try that. I'll try to go through 16 maybe. Vayomer Yisrael, El Yosef, yeah, he says, I can't believe that God has allowed me to even see your seed. Verse 12, Vayotze Yosef Otam, and he caused them to go out. Joseph, he caused them to go out. Me'im Bir Chav. Yeah. Vayotze Yosef Otam Me'im Bir Chav. So I guess he caused them to go out and Bir Chav on their knees. So Berech knees there. So he caused them to go on their knees or kneeling. Vayishtechu le'apav. Yosef otameim birchav. Vayishtechu. Yishtechu means to bow down prostrate, and they bowed down prostrate. Le'apav artsah. And so, I'm going to say, okay. And then Joseph removed them from his knees. They were embraced. They're so young. I see. So, verse 12, Vayotze Yosef otam me'im birchav. Oh, that's so beautiful. That's what it says. It says, and Joseph caused them to exit from Jacob's knees. They were sitting on his knees. That's how little these dudes are. And he's taking them and embracing them and kissing them. And he takes them off of his knees. That's what it is. Vayishtechu le'apav artza. And he bows down his nose, his apav, which can also be translated anger, but it's on his face. He bows down his nose to the ground. So he takes his sons off of Yaakov, off of Yisrael, and he bows his face down to the ground. And we're still in verse 12. We're in verse 13. Vayikach Yosef et shnehem et Ephraim b'mino. So Joseph takes the two of them, the two boys, Ephraim b'yamino. So he takes Ephraim in his right hand, and Mishmol Yisrael, va'et Manasseh vishmolo, and he has Joseph has Manasseh to his own left, Mimin Yisrael to the right of Israel, Vayagesh Elav, and he presents them to him and he causes them to meet. So they're standing there And so Joseph is presenting them with one to his left and one to his right, and across from Israel. He's anticipating the blessing, and he's trying to posture the children, the two boys, so the older receives the larger blessing from Israel. In verse 14, Vayishlach Yisrael et Yamino. Okay, so he sends it out or throws it out. Israel sends out his right hand, Vayaset, he places it, Al Rosh Ephraim, and he puts his right hand on the head of Ephraim, who's the younger, who is not supposed to get the superior blessing. And you can imagine that basically you've got this old man, right? You've got this old man, and Joseph tries to help out his old father, and he positions the boys rightly, and instead this old man crosses his arm. It's like Twister. He crosses his arm and puts his right hand on the head of Ephraim, the younger. Vehu Hatzir, on the youngest, Ve'et Shmolo al Rosh Manasseh Sikel. So he crosses his arms at Yadav Ki Manasseh Ha Bechor, because Manasseh was the firstborn. And so the Hebrew is really explicit here. It's like creating this very specific word picture. A lot of times you don't see this amount of specificity, but it's very important here. And so it's the right and the left hands crossed, and he's about to bless them. And that's what's happening. So it's funny because, like I said, when they shift from Yaakov to Yisrael, this name, typically he's functioning prophetically as the covenant head when he's functioning as Yisrael, as Israel. And so he already, let's see here. Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys. Oh, wow. That didn't work out. Okay, well then. So he functions prophetically when he's functioning as Yisrael, and he speaks. I don't know why he knows this. So maybe it's the Spirit. Maybe God's already spoken to him. We know that Elohim, God, is at work right now. El Shaddai is at work right now through Israel. And Joseph, remember, they give us a little hint in the text. They said that his eyes were heavy from old age and he was not able to see. So Joseph doesn't understand what's going on either. And so in verse 15, we're going to see that in verse 17. But so he's going to bless them. Okay. Vayivarech. This is a really cool blessing, by the way. This is an awesome verse, and it actually is important when we think about the metaphysics of the Messiah. When we think about what Christian theologians will call Christology. When you just want to understand what Messiah is, who is Yeshua, in relationship to God, in relationship to Elohim, and this is a really helpful passage for that. And so I'm going to break down some of the grammar here. We're in verse 15 is the blessing he puts on the boys with his arms crossed. Write a picture. Vayivarech et Yosef. Okay, and he blessed Joseph. By blessing the boys, he's blessing Joseph. He's already explained that the two boys will inherit among his brothers. And Vayivarech, so by blessing Joseph, he is blessing Manasseh and Ephraim. Vayivarech et Yosef, and he blessed Joseph, one singular, and he singular blessed Joseph. Vayomar, and he said, Ha Elohim, the God. We don't have Elohim without the article. This is God. This is Yahweh, the God. It's explicit. Ha Elohim, Asher Hithalchu Avotai, the God which walked with my fathers, Lefanav, with my father before him, Avraham Vayitzchak. Okay, my God who walked with my father. Okay, before him, before their face, or my fathers who walked before his face, God's face, Abraham and Isaac. So it's one God. It's Yahweh. We have the article there. And again, the next part of the blessing, Ha Elohim, same God, the God, Ha Roe, the God, the one shepherding me. Haroe, shepherding me and feeding me, okay? Causing me to graze, shepherding me, me odi ad hayom, from all those times until now, okay, up till now, from until like today, from then until today, hazeh, to this day. So my God who's caused me to graze, my God who's fed me from then until this very day, okay? And then this is an interesting thing. We have this in verse 16. Another definite article, but it doesn't say ha Elohim. It says ha malach, the angel, the messenger. Ha malach, ha goel, the angel, the one redeeming me. Ot, mikol ra, the one redeeming me, getting me out of all the harm, mikol ra, all these harmful situations. So the God, the one who my fathers, Abraham and Isaac, walked before, the God, the one who shepherded me and fed me up to this point, the angel who's redeemed me from all my evil, it's all one person. And you'll know this because it'll say, Yivarech, may he bless Hana'arim, may he bless the youths, okay, or the boys. Vayikra vahim shemi, and may he call them in my name, right? May he call them by my name, by Israel. B'shem Avotai, in the name of my fathers, Abraham and by Yitzchak, in other words, may they be called by my name, may they be put into this covenant. And may the blessing come from the God, which is the angel, third person, masculine, singular. May he bless them. The angel and the God, Ha-Malach and Ha-Elohim, are not two separate figures, because we would conjugate bless differently. It's one person. So this angel that's on the local, it's God localized, may he bless the lads, and reckon them and name them among Israel, the people of Israel. B'shem Avotai, Abraham v'Yitzchak, v'yidgu larov, may he multiply them to increase, b'kerev ha'aretz, in the midst of the land, may he cause them to increase and multiply in the midst of the land. He's putting this blessing on them, this blessing of multiplication and fruitfulness. And then, yeah, and so this blessing is really powerful. And I just want to, say, when you're presenting the gospel, you're presenting Messiah, you're presenting King Messiah. And this is one of the ways I think that, like 2 Corinthians 3 says, Messiah is hidden in the Torah. And he is, there's a veil over the eyes of people, like, oh wow, thank you, Yeshua. It's almost like their eyes are heavy. Misochein, not from old age, but their eyes are heavy and they're not able to see. Their eyes are veiled. And then in Messiah, that veil's removed. In Messiah, that veil's removed. Ooh, praise you, thank you, Yeshua. Which is like, even though he's not able to see Yaakov, even though Jacob's not able to see, Israel can. And so how? Because when the beloved son comes to him, he is re-strengthened and he's revived and he's able to see it. Even though his physical eyes can't see, it's like a veil is lifted because he knows which hands to cross and he knows who to bless and he knows who to touch. He has sight because the beloved son has come to him and he's regained his strength. And in a similar way, when we read the Torah, Messiah is there, but he's veiled, and those who receive the spirit of Messiah, who is the Lord, right, Ha'adon, the Master, they'll be able to see. They gain sight. The veil is lifted and removed, and they can see Messiah in the Torah. This is a way to see Messiah in the Torah. Mashiach is Ha-Elohim. He is the God. He is Ha-Malach. He is the angel, the one. And we have this one being there, may he bless, but we have these two titles. And the two titles directly correspond to function. Ha-Elohim depicts Yahweh in B'Shamayim, in the heavens, on his heavenly throne. But Ha-Malach depicts Yahweh on the ground, locally ensuring that the covenant can come to pass, even battling on behalf of people, even guarding and protecting, and ensuring that threats to the covenant are blocked off, overcome, all kinds of threats. And this happens all throughout Jacob's life, and this happens throughout Isaac's life, and this happens throughout Abraham's life. This figure. And this role of Elohim on the ground, Yahweh locally, this local Yahweh, God on the ground, that's what Hamalach is associated with. And that's Messiah. It's Yahweh on the ground. And Yahweh on the ground is not a new concept. This is throughout the Torah. Anybody who tries to tell you this is not throughout the Torah, go to Genesis 3:8, and the presence of Yahweh came into the garden and they could hear him walking. Go to Genesis 6, where it says, before me, like before my eyes, this people is, before my face, this land is evil. So he's like talking to Noah. Go to Genesis 7, where it says, and he, Yahweh, shut the door of the ark. Go to Genesis 11, where it says, let us go down and see. And Yahweh goes down and confuses their languages. Okay, and go to Genesis 18, where Yahweh and two messengers, okay, go to Avraham and sit, and they get their feet washed and they eat with him. God on the ground is not this is throughout the Torah. We can keep going. Genesis 19:24 is quite a pickle. Go read it. And so very, very helpful to know this passage when you're trying to explain who is Messiah, what are the metaphysics of Messiah. And for you, if you are Jewish and you're watching this, and you know, there's like a pull in your heart to want to know Messiah, to want to know this Yeshua that I'm talking about, and you're afraid. You don't want to put other gods on Yahweh's face, or put other gods before Hashem. You don't want to make an image and hishtachu and bow down to it, or you don't want to make an image and bow down to it, the image of a man, Yeshua. Understand that Abraham bowed down prostrate and worshipped Yahweh when he came as a man, sitting under the mamre, sitting under the tree. It's not the first time that the father of Israel, has bowed down before Yahweh as a man on a tree. So understand that you're in an ancient tradition, and God on the ground, Elohim on the ground, Malach, this angel, he gets called all kinds of things. This is the function that the human Yeshua Mashiach picks up and subsumes. And there's more I can go into. I'm going to stop there, 16, and I can pick back up with verse 17, which is going to talk about Joseph's discontent with this scenario. If I pick back up, I don't know. Blessings to you guys. I hope that this fed you. I'll just pray over you. Yeshua, thank you so much for whoever got to see this, whoever got to hear it. I pray that your word, that the veil will be lifted and they would be blessed. And I request, Yeshua, that you would equip whoever hears this with a better understanding of your scripture. And I just lift up to you, open their mind. Like, I love that. In Luke 20, I think it's 24, you're walking with the apostles and you open their minds so that they can understand the scriptures. I just pray you would open the minds of people who get to interact with this and can understand your Torah. I thank you for your Torah, Yeshua. I'm not worthy of it. I ask that you would equip me to love you and to follow you. Challenge me, Messiah. You are the one who provides. You are the one who are able to do. You can do wonders with things that I judge that will never happen. You can do above and beyond what I ask or imagine, and I surrender myself to you, Messiah. I want to walk before you. I want to serve you. You're my Redeemer. And I pray you bless brothers and sisters and join us. Bring us together. Bring together Jew and Gentile, Messiah. Thank you for the Torah. Thank you for the Jewish people. Thank you for Israel. Salvation's from the Jews, just like you said, Messiah. I want to know you. I love you. Amen. Bless you guys.